Now we will watch a video, don't worry, it's not long, it's 1 minute, about an expert on Russian economy, Igor Liptsits. Now, this video is not about explosions or not about something exciting, but it gives us a real insight, the truth of how Russian economy is doing. Because many people who are victim of Russian propaganda think that Putin has some kind of a trump card, a secret ace up his sleeve. He doesn't. He is screwed. The Russian economy is screwed. And this video explains it pretty well. I'm observing a stunning picture of the suicide of the Russian economy. It's scary, but mesmerizing picture. Watching it is horrifyingly interesting. All my colleagues in economics understand that we happen to live in an amazing historical period when a great country is killing itself. Watching it is scary, but terribly fascinating. Is it a reversible process? At this point, probably not. One more time, a country is first of all its people. When it comes to people, there's a total deficit in Russia because Russia is losing its population. Now, this is the first myth that people like to project on Russia because they project the Soviet might on Russia, that Russia has an endless pool of human resources. They really don't. Human resources are only as valuable as their skill and education. Russian human resources don't really have skill or education when compared to the West. Also, when you just take their population that can be mobilized, they also don't make really good soldiers, because the soldier is only as good as the society it comes from. It brings with himself the patterns that he lives in civilian life, and if that's alcoholism, drugs, and lawlessness, then that's what he brings into the army, and that makes up the whole image of that army and the discipline of that army. And discipline is one of the most important things about the cohesion of the army and the effectiveness of it. This is what Russian army is lacking. And most of all, they're lacking the idea for what they are fighting. There is no idea. There is nothing. So people who are saying that, oh, Russia has a population so vast that Ukraine has no chance, it's a myth. Russia has, like Ukraine, a manpower shortage. Also, although a lot less than Ukraine, but they don't have the Soviet Union's manpower. They don't have Stalin's terror processes when they can just put hundreds of thousands of people into trains and drive them to the front. That's not Russia nowadays. They're also relying mostly on volunteers, which is failing. Then they're relying on mercenaries from Africa. If that fails, they have to mobilize, and the mobilization is definitely not popular. And the brightest minds and the richest left Russia when the mobilization started in 2022 fall. About 1 million men left Russia. The brightest, the most educated, that is the value of an economy. That is the human resources that actually generate money. Russia is losing its population. What human resources do I need to boost the economy? To boost the economy, I need people, money, and international cooperation. Now again, many people might think that, okay, if you become a pariah state, you connect yourself only with China, not to any Western powers, perhaps India or some third world countries, the global south. That is not going to do it. Money flows through the West, economic might flows through the West, and the West is the biggest customer of all economy and all money, all trading in the world. The West is the biggest customer in the center of it. If you disconnect yourself from the West, your economy dies. That's how simple it is. Nobody in the world ever accomplished that without international cooperation. Not a single country with closed borders can do it. It can only become a North Korea that produces missiles. That's all it can become. Yes, and I do agree, if you close your borders and you're very much connected to China to survive, which Russia is moving into, they're moving into that state of becoming a fully pariah state, only surviving because of China. Because no other country in the world who has economic power wants to work with them. And that's North Korea pretty much. Without China, North Korea would cease to exist. That's how simple it is. North Korea is China's attack dog. They need food. They would starve without China. And Russia is moving into that. Chinese companies are taking over businesses in Russia. So the economy goes into trash. And I know many people feel it's very repetitive. Oh, you're again saying that Russian economy will fall. They haven't. They have actually risen. It takes time, my friends. Patience. These things take years, if not a decade. Soviet Union was not brought down with 1 or 2 years. It took 10 years. And then the biggest country in the world collapsed.